Chapter 31. Moses went and spoke these words to all Israel. He said to them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. And the Lord has said to me, You shall not go over this Jordan. The Lord your God, He will go over before you. He will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall dispossess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before you, as the Lord has spoken. The Lord will do to them as He did to Sihon and to Og, the kings of the Amorites, and to their land whom He destroyed. The Lord will deliver them up before you, and you shall do to them according to all the commandment which I have commanded you. Be strong and of good courage. Don't be afraid, nor be scared of them. For the Lord your God, it is He who does go with you. He will not fail you nor forsake you. Moses called to Joshua, and said to him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of good courage, for you shall go with this people into the land which the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. The Lord, He it is who does go before you. He is with you. He will not fail you, neither forsake you. Don't be afraid, neither be dismayed. Moses wrote this law, and delivered it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel. Moses commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, in the set time of the year of release, in the feast of tents, when all Israel is come to appear before the Lord your God, in the place which He shall choose, you shall read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Assemble the people, the men and the women and the little ones, and your foreigner who is within your gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children, who have not known, may hear, and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as you live in the land where you go over the Jordan to possess it. The Lord said to Moses, Behold, your days approach that you must die. Call Joshua, and present yourselves in the tent of meeting, that I may give him a charge. Moses and Joshua went, and presented themselves in the tent of meeting. The Lord appeared in the tent in a pillar of cloud, and the pillar of cloud stood over the door of the tent. The Lord said to Moses, Behold, you shall sleep with your fathers, and this people will rise up, and play the prostitute after the strange gods of the land, where they go to be among them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall come on them, so that they will say in that day, Haven't these evils come on us because our God is not among us? I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evil which they shall have worked, and that they are turned to other gods. Now therefore write this song, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swore to their fathers, flowing with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and grown fat, then they will turn to other gods and serve them, and despise me, and break my covenant. It shall happen, when many evils and troubles are come on them, that this song shall testify before them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination which they framed this day, before I have brought them into the land which I swore. So Moses wrote this song the same day, and taught it to the children of Israel. He gave Joshua the son of Nun a charge, and said, Be strong and of good courage, for you shall bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore to them, and I will be with you. It happened, when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book, when they were finished, Moses commanded the Levites, who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord, saying, Take this book of the law, and put it by the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be there for a witness against you. For I know your rebellion, and your stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, you have been rebellious against the Lord, and how much more after my death? Assemble to me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way that I have commanded you, and evil will happen to you in the latter days, because you will do that which is evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. Moses spoke in the ears of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song until they were finished. Chapter 32. Give ear, you heavens, and I will speak. Let the earth hear the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall condense as the dew, as the small rain on the tender grass, as the showers on the herb. For I will proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our God. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are justice. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have dealt corruptly with him, they are not his children, it is their blemish. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do you thus repay the Lord, foolish people and unwise? Isn't he your father who has bought you? He has made you and established you. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the children of men, he set the bounds of the peoples, according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land, in the waste howling wilderness. He compassed him about, he cared for him, he kept him as the apple of his eye, as an eagle that stirs up her nest, that flutters over her young. He spread abroad his wings, he took them, he bore them on his feathers. The Lord alone did lead him, there was no foreign God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth. He ate the increase of the field. He made him to suck honey out of the rock, oil out of the flinty rock, butter of the herd and milk of the flock, with fat of lambs, rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats, with the finest of the wheat. Of the blood of the grape you drank wine. But Jeshurun grew fat and kicked. You have grown fat, you are grown thick, you are become sleek. Then he forsook God who made him. Lightly he esteemed the rock of his salvation. They moved him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed to demons which were no gods, to gods that they didn't know, to new gods that came up of late, which your fathers didn't dread. Of the rock that became your father you were unmindful. You have forgotten God who gave you birth. The Lord saw it and abhorred them, because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. He said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very perverse generation, children in whom is no faithfulness. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. I will move them to jealousy with those who are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in my anger. It burns to the lowest Sheol. It devours the earth with its increase. It sets on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap evils on them. I will spin my arrows on them. They shall be wasted with hunger, and devoured with burning heat and bitter destruction. The teeth of animals I will send on them, with the poison of crawling things of the dust. Outside shall the sword bereave, inside the chambers terror. It shall destroy both young man and virgin, the suckling with the man of gray hairs. I said I would scatter them afar, I would make the memory of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the provocation of the enemy, lest their adversaries should judge wrongly, lest they should say, Our hand is exalted, the Lord has not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, there is no understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000, or two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, except the Lord had delivered them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of serpents, the cruel venom of asp. Isn't this laid up in store with me, sealed up among my treasures? Vengeance is mine in recompense, at the time when their foot shall slide, for the day of their calamity is at hand. The things that are to come on them shall make haste, for the Lord will judge his people. Repent himself for his servants, when he sees their power is gone. There is none remaining, shut up or left at large. He will say, Where are their gods, the rock in which they took refuge, which ate the fat of their sacrifices, and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. See now that I, even I, am he. There is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. There is none who can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven, and say, As I live forever, if I whet my glittering sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my adversaries, and will recompense those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives, from the head of the leaders of the enemy. Rejoice, you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries. He will make expiation for his land and for his people. Moses came and spoke all the words of this song in the ears of the people, he and Joshua the son of Nun. Moses made an end of speaking all these words to all Israel. He said to them, Set your heart to all the words which I testify to you this day, which you shall command your children to observe to do, even all the words of this law. For it is no vain thing for you, because it is your life, and through this thing you shall prolong your days in the land, where you go over the Jordan to possess it. The Lord spoke to Moses that same day, saying, Go up into this mountain of Abarim, to Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and see the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel for a possession, and die on the mountain where you go up, and be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people, because you trespassed against me in the midst of the children of Israel, at the waters of Meribah, of Kadesh, in the wilderness of Sin, because you didn't sanctify me in the midst of the children of Israel. For you shall see the land before you, but you shall not go there into the land which I give the children of Israel. Chapter 33. This is the blessing with which Moses the man of God blessed the children of Israel before his death. He said, The Lord came from Sinai, and rose from Seir to them. He shined forth from Mount Paran. He came from the 10,000s of holy ones. At his right hand was a fiery law for them. Yes, he loves the people. All his saints are in your hand. They sat down at your feet. Every one shall receive of your words. Moses commanded us a law, an inheritance for the assembly of Jacob. He was king in Jeshurun, when the heads of the people were gathered, all the tribes of Israel together. Let Reuben live and not die, nor let his men be few. This is the blessing of Judah, and he said, Hear the Lord, the voice of Judah, bring him into his people. With his hands he contended for himself. You shall be a help against his adversaries. Of Levi he said, Your Thummim and your Urim are with your godly one, whom you did prove at Massah, with whom you did strive at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and of his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brothers, nor knew he his own children, for they have observed your word, and kept your covenant. They shall teach Jacob your ordinances, and Israel your law. They shall put incense before you, and whole burnt offerings on your altar. Bless, O Lord, his substance, and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of those who rise up against him, and of those who hate him, that they rise not again. Of Benjamin he said, The beloved of the Lord shall dwell safely by him. He covers him all the day long. He dwells between his shoulders. Of Joseph he said, Blessed of the Lord be his land, for the precious things of the heavens, for the dew, for the deep that couches beneath, for the precious things of the fruits of the sun, for the precious things of the growth of the moons, for the chief things of the ancient mountains, for the precious things of the everlasting hills, for the precious things of the earth, and the fullness of it, the good will of him who lived in the bush. Let the blessing come on the head of Joseph, on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. The firstborn of his herd, majesty is his. His horns are the horns of the wild ox. With them he shall push the peoples, all of them, even the ends of the earth. They are the 10,000s of Ephraim. They are the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, Issachar in your tents. They shall call the peoples to the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck the abundance of the seas, the hidden treasures of the sand. Of Gad he said, Blessed be he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lioness, and tears the arm, yes, the crown of the head. He provided the first part for himself, for there was the lawgiver's portion reserved. He came with the heads of the people. He executed the righteousness of the Lord. His ordinances with Israel. Of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub that leaps forth from Bashan. Of Naphtali he said, Naphtali, satisfied with favor, full with the blessing of the Lord, possess the west and the south. Of Asher he said, Blessed be Asher with children. Let him be acceptable to his brothers. Let him dip his foot in oil. Your bars shall be iron and brass. As your days, so shall your strength be. There is none like God, Jeshurun, who rides on the heavens for your help, in his excellency on the skies. The eternal God is your dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He thrust out the enemy from before you, and said, Destroy. Israel dwells in safety, the fountain of Jacob alone, in a land of grain and new wine. Yes, his heavens drop down dew. Happy are you, Israel, who is like you, a people saved by the Lord, the shield of your help, the sword of your excellency. Your enemies shall submit themselves to you. You shall tread on their high places. Chapter 34. Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. The Lord showed him all the land of Gilead, to Dan and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah to the hinder sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, to Zoar. The Lord said to him, This is the land which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, I will give it to your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. He buried him in the valley in the land of Moab over against Beth Peor, but no man knows of his tomb to this day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. The children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and the mourning for Moses were ended. Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him, and the children of Israel listened to him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. There has not arisen a prophet since in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, and all the signs and the wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and to all his land, and in all the mighty hand, and in all the great terror, which Moses worked in the sight of all Israel.